Welcome to yet another edition of the Inspirational Corner. And today we are joined by Eliot Berry. Eliot Berry is the founder of the Noah Initiative. He's going to be joining us and telling us what the Noah Initiative is all about, how he ended up being in Kenya, and doing the amazing things that he's doing with his NGO. Welcome to the program and listen in. Welcome to the program, Elliot. You are a lot of things other than just the founder of Noah Initiative. If you were to describe yourself, who is Elliot Berry?
Who am I? That's a big question and a simple question. Um, I'm just a simple guy. I don't like a lot of things. I'm here doing what I think that God's told me to do on this earth, which is to run the Noah Initiative. Um, I'm not so many things. I'm just me.
Okay. Let us talk about the Noah Initiative. Was it something that you thought about while you were not in Kenya? Because you are not Kenyan. You're obviously foreign. I did say
hmm
that, and you made a joke about it. But how did you end up being in Kenya and getting involved with the Noah Initiative?
I always joke and I say that I was tricked to come to Kenya the first time.
How so?
I was a teenager. I just finished high school, didn't really have much direction in my life. And my parents are friends with the founders of a children's home within Eldoret. Um, and I think my mum kind of conspired with those founders and said, "Hey, why doesn't Elliot come over for 3 months?" And
Hmm.
I don't really ever remember agreeing to come to Kenya. I just remember kind of coming.
Hmm.
But even though I always joke saying that I was tricked, I would say that it's definitely not a mistake. Within the first kind of few weeks of being in Kenya, I gave my life to Christ. I decided that I wanted to make Kenya my home
Hmm.
and that I wanted to specifically work with the boy child, though I wasn't quite sure how.
Yes.
Um, and then just over the next kind of few months, years, various things happened,
Hmm.
various things developed. I
Hmm.
worked with the children's home for a while, and then out of that kind of birthed the Noah Initiative,
Hmm.
and that's kind of ended me up where I am now.
Which brings me to the next question. Obviously, the Noah Initiative is about the boy child. It's about raising strong men uh, who can maybe defend themselves, maybe depend, be individuals in their own right. Why the boy child? There's a lot of controversy
hmm
right now in Kenya, especially in
hmm
the social media, about the boy child versus the girl child.
hmm
And the boy child is feeling like they've been left out.
hmm
Have you always felt like that? Why the choice?
I think, I think with everything, there's always various sides to it. So, um, there's kind of a logical reason that we work with the boy child. Like you've said, a lot of people work with the girl child for very necessary and real reasons. The girl child needs to be empowered, needs to be developed, and all of those kind of things. But the problem that we're facing now is that if we just focus on one kind of side of the gender spectrum,
Mhm.
then we're mentoring the girl child, we're educating the girl child. But what happens when the girl child wants to get married? What happens when the girl child wants to have children? What
Yes.
happens, the girl child, through either if it's her father, her uncle, her grandfather, her future husband, her future children,
Mhm.
her brothers, are also involved in a boy child.
Mhm.
So what we do is, because obviously we do work with the boy child, we educate them, we mentor them, and we disciple them,
Mhm.
but we don't do that because we think that we're better
Mhm.
or we think that they're better. We do that because that's actually an amazing way to help the girl child,
Mhm.
because we're providing their future husbands,
Okay.
we're training their future fathers of their children, so
Interesting.
that when they grow up, they're not kind of getting into the same mistakes as maybe their mother did or their grandmother did, because
Mhm.
we're trying to raise responsible and respectful men for
Mhm.
the girl child.
Okay. The Noah Initiative, obviously, like we've said, it's about the boy child, but what activities are involved in the Noah Initiative? If you were speaking to a group of donors, for instance, what would be your pitch? Like, this is what we do, and this is where we need help,
hmm
and this is what we want to do in the coming year. For example, 2018, what is in store in 2018
hmm
for Noah Initiative?
So the basic three things that we do is we educate, we mentor, and we disciple. So we educate, that's through secondary education, sorry, vocational training, and then after that, possibly college. We mentor them by basically providing positive male role models for them. You know, we take boys that maybe haven't had a positive role model for a father, or they've been through some kind of traumatic loss. So we kind of provide that for them. We believe that it's very hard to be a good man if you've never seen how a good man acts.
Yes.
And then we disciple, so we teach them things about God. We don't we don't lazamisha anybody to become a Christian,
Yes.
but we teach them about that and give them that opportunity. So basically, when we're talking to donors, we explain basically what we do and the necessity of why we do it. After that question that you asked about the why not the girl child often comes up, and that's something that we always explain, and people kind of see that and like that
Yeah.
you're kind of working on the other side of the spectrum.
Yes.
So basically, the second half of your question, the things for 2018. We've got a huge expansion coming up. At the moment, we have 38 boys, and those boys come from either Kip Karen in Eldoret or Kambitesu and Kamkunji in Eldoret. And we're expanding into Langas of Eldoret and Haruma of Eldoret in January 2018.
Okay.
So we've already interviewed our boys to take on for that year, and we're taking on, I think, another 26.
Okay.
So that's almost 100% growth.
That's a lot of work. Yes.
So yeah, just I mean, we're constantly expanding. The boys that we take, I mean, they're a tiny section of the boys that kind of need our help.
Yes.
But that's kind of what's coming up for 2018, a huge expansion,
Okay.
and we're kind of gearing up for that.
Okay. I think a lot of issues that probably Kenyans and the Kenyan experience as a Kenyan is when NGOs come up, is what is the criteria that's being used so that we do not have people who are being pushed, you know, this one needs to be helped, but they really don't need the help. We have a lot of street children who people say they have parents who send them to the streets. So they're really not supposed to be street urchins because they have parents who send them to beg. When you're thinking of going to recruit these boys, what criteria are you using to make sure that you only reach the boys? Because you can only have so much funds. You're only reaching the boys who really need your help the most.
Yeah, so I mean, again, two parts of the question. So we have basically an interview process when we're kind of looking for new boys to help. We take them through an interview process, which is very long. It's been developed over kind of like the last 4 years. Basically looking at every kind of thing that you would need to know. So health background, social background, financial. And then we also look at talent. You know, it's always funny that I've started the NOAA initiative because I didn't really like school. So that's why I look at other things, not just kind of A's and B's and C's.
Yes.
Also other things, because if it was just A, B's and C's, I wouldn't have passed my own interview.
Yes.
And then what we do is we then interview the parent or the guardian if they have one as well.
Okay.
To kind of cross-check. We do a house visit, which is a surprise house visit, so you can't clean up the house or make it messier depending on what you want to do. And I think as well, the first part of the question is, it's a charitable society. And I'm, like we've already discussed, I'm not Kenyan, but we very much a Kenyan program.
Yes.
So our board is Kenyan, our staff is Kenyan. I'm the only non-Kenyan member.
Okay.
Maybe one day I'll become Kenyan. Kama unataka niendelee kuongea na Swahili nitaendelea, lakini tumekubali Kizungu.
Okay, sawa sawa. I know time is not on our side. It's really, really a short show. But I wanted to ask a question on education. I know you've said that you really didn't like school, which is very ironical because you are sponsoring a lot of these boys to get an education themselves. What is the place of education in a young man's life, if you just say that very briefly?
I think education is key. I think it's not the only thing that matters in your life, but it's something that, especially in the Western world, we don't take for we don't take it seriously because it's free, it's a right, it's a whatever. So I think that's something that we really try to keep in the boys' minds here, that this is really your key to success.
Yeah.
You know, unemployment is crazy in Kenya.
Yes.
You can't just be good, you've got to be the best.
Yes.
And that's what we use education to do, is to make them the best.
Okay. If we are to wrap it up, what did you say as we conclude? Not only about the NOAA initiative, but about the boys who might join you in future, probably who would be watching and saying, maybe I belong, I need this program, I should be in this program. What did you say to these boys?
I would say two things. I would say if you're watching this and you're not one of the children that we're talking about, you don't need a society or a charity to empower the boy child or the girl child. It takes each person doing what they can every single day. So don't feel like you need to wait for a government program or a society. Just if you see a kid that you know needs help, help them. You don't need to wait for somebody else. And I would say for children that we work with and youth that we work with is we believe in them. A lot of programs work with children because they don't see a hope with them. You know, they try and give them hope. But we work with the children that we work because we know there's something in them. We see something in them that they can develop, that they can become the leaders of tomorrow within Kenya, their county, their homes, their families. So I would say that. I would say within every child, there's a leader, there's a great person. It just a few nips and tucks there, and you're good to go.
I think you're doing a really, really great job. I think
Thank
what
you.
you're doing is really amazing, and I don't think a lot of people go into such things. But I think we thank you. We really, really do. That you chose Kenya. You could have gone to Zimbabwe or Malawi, right?
Maybe we'll go there as well later.
Thank you for joining us, Eliot. That is all the time we had on the show.
Thanks.
I truly hope that you have been inspired, and until another episode, my name is Rose Okinda, signing off from here.